All right, hi everybody, John Meadows here. And today we're just doing a sit down video. We haven't done one of these in, seems like a long time. We've just been putting up training video after training video after training video. And hopefully you're enjoying those videos and you're learning from them. So today we thought we'd get back to just the sit down style video. And I was just in Chicago, or I was in Atlanta for the Chicago Pro this past weekend. Fantastic show, great show. And, a lot of people ask me about coaching, maybe if I'd help them or if they should get a coach or what have you. And I thought it was actually a good topic for a video. So, the question is, do you need a coach? And this wouldn't apply just if you're competing, even if you're not competing, I think it's still a valid question. And so I want to talk about some reasons why you might consider getting a coach. And then I also want to talk about a few things that, you got to be real careful, or getting a coach will actually be a bad idea. Because I think you have to weigh out kind of the pros and cons. And, for me, the first pro and why you should get a coach, it's really simple. It's accountability. When you don't have a coach, it's very easy to say, well, I'll eat this one meal off plan. I'll just have these extra snacks. And yeah, nobody's going to really know. I don't really have a goal, or maybe you do have a goal, but so I'm just going to skip this cardio session today, or you know what, the show is not coming up anytime soon. I'll be okay if I go easy in the gym today. It just becomes real easy to not follow your plan to the letter. And when you have a coach, you have to report back to them, what percentage of the plan did you follow? Did you follow it 100%, or did you only follow it 50%? And so I think it is a great accountability tool. And a lot of the guys I work with, the men and women both, are very, very good athletes, are very, very smart. And honestly, I think the accountability part is maybe one of the most beneficial things for them. I've used coaches on and off over the years myself. I've went many years without a coach, many years with coaches on and off. And for the most part, the reason why I use them, and I'll get into another one of those reasons here in a second, but it's really accountability. It's knowing that you have to do everything to the letter. So that would be my number one reason. So the second reason I think is very important, particularly if you're kind of new, if you're in that intermediate phase, maybe you got through the novice phase, but you're an intermediate, now you know a little bit, and that's to continue your learning. So a coach should ideally be someone who's very knowledgeable, who can actually teach you. There's one of the things that drives me nuts about what clients tell me, they'll say, I had a coach and I would ask him why I had to do something, and he would say, because I told you so. And I think that's a bogus idea. You should always be able to tell somebody why they're doing something. Always. 100% of the time, you should have a reason for what you're doing. Your reason may be, I just want to experiment with this and see what happens. But that's a legitimate reason. But just telling someone, do this because I told you so, I don't consider someone saying that to be a very good coach. And I don't care how much experience they say they have. So learning, ideally you get a coach that, somebody that's been around, that's made a lot of mistakes. I always say that I don't have any extra special intelligence. I've just made tons of mistakes because I've done this for so long. So hopefully I can help people avoid some of the mistakes I've made. Hopefully I can recognize things that are going on with their body just based on what I've seen with other clients. You kind of look at the whole experience. But ideally, a coach would be able to save you from repeating, a lot of mistakes that coach made or they've made with other clients through the years. And it could save you some time. You can really increase your learning curve. And when I was early in my career, I had a coach, his name was Mike Matson, that I thought was just tremendously knowledgeable. Fantastic guy. Pushed me really hard, but he was always teaching me. He's always teaching me. And I really valued that. We remain good friends to this day. So ideally, you find a coach that can also teach you. A lot of you that have a coach, maybe you want to coach too. So it's great when you have someone that sets a good example that you can learn from. So then if you want to pursue that in your career, you can do it as well. So that would be number two. It's just learning. You can just save a lot of time, save a lot of frustration, save a lot of mistakes, and not make the same mistakes that somebody else has made. Okay, my third reason is working through plateaus. So a lot of times when you are on your own, you don't really have a coach, you'll be doing great. You're doing great week after week after week, and then boom, you hit a plateau. and you don't really know what to do. Should you do more cardio? Should you do less cardio? Should you eat more? Should you eat less? You're just really not sure what the answer is. And this is another reason, a very, very valuable reason why I think coaches can help, because they can navigate through some of these tough plateaus. We've seen a lot of situations where we had to work through plateaus. And that's the hardest part. Most people can get in better shape on their own, for sure. And most people can actually get in pretty good shape on their own. But there's that final level of condition, whether you're competing or not competing, where you just want to get a little bit extra leaner or stronger, or whatever it is, that I think a really good coach can help you with. And that's really kind of the value in coaching too. It's, you can do 80% of the easy stuff, but then that last 20%, how do you get that? And the good coaches can take you to that point. So that would be my third reason. Now, the fourth reason is more directed toward people that are competing and getting into kind of the extreme levels of body fat. So this would be kind of the small niche group of people who are trying to get into this crazy condition. And the fourth reason is mental stability. And I want to give you some examples on that. So, when I've dieted in the past for very, very, tough shows where I knew I had to reach a crazy low body fat level, what happens is you do this extreme dieting at the extreme low body fat levels, you start losing it mentally. Your mental faculties just don't work like they do normally when you're fed and happy. So you just start, and I bet you anything, there are thousands of you listening to this video that went through this personally. So you'll start questioning everything you do, every little thing you do. I remember being in great condition, waking up, dry as a bone, looking great. And then you eat your normal meals through the day. And then at night, you're a little watery. And I remember thinking, oh my God, look how fat I am now. And then I would have to talk myself down and go, wait a minute, how did you get fat? You just ate your normal diet today. And then I would wake up and I would be, dry and hard again. And then throughout the day, same thing would happen the next day. And I would say, man, I got fat again. And your mind just plays tricks on you. When you're constantly analyzing, looking at yourself in the mirror all the time, every little thing, it just mentally can drive you crazy. And it's nice to sometimes have someone that can keep you mentally stable. I had a couple phone calls this week with professionals of mine that are really, really high level. And they just need a little bit of mental stability at this point. Which I understand because I have been there over and over and over. And I think that's one of the part for competitors, that's the most important, because what happens with competitors is they tend to blow it the last week or two. That overthinking causes them to do something crazy and extreme. And then you'll see their sob story about how they look better the week before or the day after. Probably 90% competitors say that. Oh, I looked better the week before and the week after. Well, what happened in between? You decided to do something crazy to peak, and you blew it. And that's that mental factor. And I've been there too. I've sat there on the internet all night trying to figure out, well, what am I missing? What's the secret formula? And you outthink yourself. You might already be in great shape, but you just outthink yourself. You do something stupid, and boom, you set yourself back. So those are four really good reasons for a coach. But now I want to talk about, some things you got to be careful of. Because I think not everyone maybe needs a coach, or maybe this is more of just be careful when you get a coach. So let me cover a couple reasons there. My first reason would be expectations. I think sometimes coaches aren't real clear about their expectations. And I'm someone who likes to set high expectations for people, but the problem is people come to a coach with unrealistic expectations. It might be someone who's never competed before and they're like, well, I'm going to be a pro next year. Maybe you will, but I think it's probably more realistic to say, you know what, let's just get in shape first. Let's just see what you look like when you're in shape. I get a lot of young people through the year that maybe not necessarily even young people, just people who are novices who say, I'm going to be on the Olympia stage in a year or two. I mean, that sounds great. I'm glad you believe in yourself, but as a coach, I got to set that expectation right away that you do realize how much work that takes. Well, actually, you probably don't, or you wouldn't have said that. So people sometimes have these unrealistic expectations. And then when they don't walk into their first show, or they don't diet for 12 weeks and are not at 5% body fat, they're disappointed. oh, well, this was a failure. I didn't look the way I thought I would look. The reality is to get to where you want to go, it's usually going to take years, decades, a long time. And I think there's probably coaches out there to kind of capitalize on that. You know, we see in my industry, we see coaches that are at the shows, they're backstage with people trying to talk to competitors and they're working with them. And, you know, well, if you just work with me, all your dreams would come true. You know, I see that a lot. So I think the bad thing about a coach is it's the coach not setting the right expectations. So you got to be really, really careful of that, or you're going to end up real disappointed. Number two is you may not learn your body if you're not really paying attention like you would if you're on your own. So I've spent many, many years obviously training myself, preparing myself for contests, in addition to when, you know, I had coaches other times, but most of the time I did it myself. And it was a great learning tool. It was a great learning tool. I learned when I should push harder, when I should pull back a little bit, and I got to know my body pretty well. And that's the one thing that is really neat, is when you really start figuring your body out. And sometimes if you work with a coach, you don't necessarily get that opportunity. You kind of rely on them to make the decisions, and you should. They're your coach. You should. But you kind of miss out on that opportunity to learn things on your own. And, you know, if you're paying attention with the coach, you still will learn. But I just find that some people don't really learn their bodies. They're just like, well, we did this. And so it's nice. I've always been big on experimenting. I've talked about this before in regards to training, eating, everything. I'm big on experimenting. Try things. Try new things. Experiment. See what happens. So you might miss out on some of that learning your body, that experimenting that I think can be pretty valuable as well. Number three, I would say one of the things you got to be careful about too is you might get a coach that, you know, there's these coaches that do cookie cutter diets, and you know, you'll talk to people and they'll all have the same diet. One of them's 120 pounds, one of them's 200, one of them's 250 pounds, and it's essentially the same diet. If you know someone that's doing the cookie cutter diet, just run away. Run away. That's not a coach. That's just someone who's, you know, probably selling you something for $90 or $100 or whatever, and they're just trying to make a lot of money real fast and sell it to anybody who'll buy it. So if you want true coaching, like that cookie cutter stuff, just got to be aware. That's the negative part of this. Like, you might go to a coach and you pick the bad coach. And that kind of leads me into number four. The last one is, you know, it's not that coaching is bad. You just may not pick the right coach. There's a lot of things that need to be in place for that relationship to work. You guys have to trust each other. You have to talk. You have to communicate. And some coaches just aren't, that's just not their style. They're just my way or the highway. I have a way I do things. Yeah, sure, it might have worked for 50% of the people, but 50% of the people didn't work for. Rather than trying to figure out what works for 100% of the people. Every situation is unique. Every client is unique. So I believe that good coaches should be able to tailor a plan for everybody based on what they're seeing, based on what the results are. So that's the other thing, is you just don't know what you get with coaching. You may spend a lot of money and be very, very disappointed. You may feel like you even threw your money away. So getting a coach is also risky financially. You may just throw money away. So if you are thinking about getting a coach, I would encourage you to really do your research. There are a lot of good coaches out there, for sure, but just do your research and make sure you're getting someone that is vested in you as a person, not just pumping out cookie cutter plans. And anyways, that's really what I wanted to cover today. Again, great weekend in Atlanta this weekend, Chicago Pro. That was a common question that came up, so just wanted to cover it. So I hope you enjoyed the video, and we'll see you next time.